Take my daughters. Do what you want with them. Just don't harm these men. Girl, did you just hear that? Did Lot, a whole father, a supposed man of God, just offer his 2 virgin daughters to a violent, screaming mob of perverts at his front door to protect 2 complete strangers he just met? I need you to understand the level of delusion and poor decision-making we are working with from the jump, sis. If the story is already this wild at the start, you know the tea is only going to get hotter. So subscribe now because Bible gist, it's absolutely endless. The gist begins. Okay, so let's rewind just a little bit so you can get the full picture of how we even got to this disastrous front door moment. We have to talk about Lot's uncle because, girl, the dysfunction starts in the family tree. Lot's uncle was none other than Abraham. Yes, the Abraham, father of nations, friend of God, whole entire patriarch. But even legends have that one messy nephew. Lot was basically orphaned or something. His daddy, Haran, died, so Abraham took him in, raised him like his own son. And for a while, it was good. They were rolling deep, super wealthy, had flocks and herds and servants for days. They were the original billionaires, but with goats and tents. But honey, when you have too much wealth in one camp, somebody starts getting sideways glances over the last helping of manna, you know what I'm saying? Abraham's herders and Lot's herders started getting into it. The side eyes were lethal. It was giving very much there's not enough pasture for all of us, so somebody's goat's gotta go. The drama was thick. You could cut it with a knife. So Abraham, being the mature one, for now, we'll get to his own mess another day, trust, pulls Lot aside. He's like, nephew, this is not a good look. We are family. We cannot be fighting. The whole land is before us. You pick where you want to go. If you go left, I'll go right. If you go north, I'll go south. Just choose so we can keep the peace. Now, this was a moment, a test of character. Where was Lot's heart? Was he humble, grateful, respectful to the uncle who literally raised him? Says Lot looked out over the whole Jordan Valley, and his eyes landed on one place, Sodom. And the Bible says the land was well-watered everywhere like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt. It was lush. It was poppin'. It was the Beverly Hills of the desert. But it also says, and I need you to hear this, it says that this was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Before. Meaning God was already side-eyeing the whole area. The spiritual pollution was probably visible from space. But all Lot saw was the real estate potential. He saw the money, the glamour, the easy life. He didn't ask God. He didn't consult his God-fearing uncle. He saw what his flesh wanted, and he went for it. He pitched his tent toward Sodom. Let me be clear. He didn't even move into the city at first. He was on the outskirts. He was trying to have one foot in the world and one foot somewhere else. He wanted the benefits of Sodom without the full commitment. He was dating the city, not marrying it. But girl, you know how that goes. You start off just visiting the club. Next thing you know, you're a regular. You're just seeing that toxic guy. Next thing you know, you're in a situationship. That was Lot. Slowly but surely, he inched closer. The next time we see him, he's not outside the city gates. He's sitting in the gate. Okay, pause. In those days, sitting in the gate of the city didn't mean he was the town bum. It meant that he was on the city council. He was a judge, a leader. This man had fully assimilated. He had a seat at the table in one of the most wicked cities on God's green earth. He had compromised everything for a seat of power and a piece of the pie. And what was the pie made of? Sin. Pure, unadulterated sin. The Bible says the sin of Sodom was very grievous. It was so bad, the outcry against it had reached heaven itself. God was like, I'm gonna need to see about this. So he comes down, and this is a whole other level of drama, with 2 angels disguised as men to see if it's really as bad as the reports say. Spoiler alert, it was worse. They meet up with Abraham first, who begs God to spare the city if he can find just 50 righteous people. Then 45, then 40, then 30, then 20. Girl, Abraham negotiated God all the way down to 10. Just 10 righteous people? Surely with his nephew and family there were at least 10. So the two angels head to Sodom, and where do they find Lot? Not praying, not leading a revival. He's sitting in the gate of Sodom, in the heart of the mess. And he sees them. Now, these angels looked like regular, handsome, travel-weary men, but Lot knew. Maybe it was the spiritual discernment he had left. Maybe it was the new Jordans they were rocking, but he knew they were not from around there. And he knew what happened to handsome strangers in Sodom. So he jumps up and basically begs them to come to his house. Please, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house and spend the night. He knew the streets were not safe for them. The angels were like, nah, we're good. We'll just chill in the town square. They were trying to see the vibe for themselves. But Lot insisted. He was practically dragging them. He knew. So they finally agree to go to his house. He makes them a feast, unleavened bread and all. They're just settling in, probably about to drop the revelation that they're there to wreck the whole city, when bam! There's a pounding at the door. Not a knock, a pounding. The door is shaking on its hinges. Lot goes to the door and peeks out, and his blood runs cold. It's not just a few guys. The Bible says it was the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people from every quarter. It was a whole mob. The entire town was outside his house, surrounding it. This wasn't a welcome wagon. This was a lynch mob. And they start screaming, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us that we may know them." Now, know them in the Bible is often a euphemism. They didn't want to shake their hands and exchange pleasantries. They wanted to gang rape them. This was the culture Lot had chosen to raise his family in. This was the seat of power he coveted. And this is where we came in. This is the moment of his absolutely catastrophic choice. Faced with an impossible, horrifying situation, what does he do? He goes outside, closes the door behind him, and says, I cannot believe I have to say this again. Please, my brothers, do not act so wickedly. Behold, I have 2 daughters who have not known any man. Let me bring them out to you and do to them as you please. Only do nothing to these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof. I need you to picture this. His 2 virgin daughters are inside, probably listening. His father is on the other side of the door, bargaining their bodies, their innocence, their very lives to a violent, perverted mob to protect 2 strangers? The level of cowardice, the warped sense of honor. He'd rather sacrifice his own children than violate the ancient rule of hospitality. His priorities were in another galaxy. The mob, of course, is having none of it. They're like, step aside, Grandpa. You moved here as a foreigner and now you're going to judge us? We'll do worse to you than to them. And they rush forward to break down the door. Ooh, if this gist is already giving, sis, you better like this video right now. Don't hoard the tea. This is shared trauma now. This is shared trauma. Just as they're about to break in, the angels, the 2 strangers, spring into action. They reach out, yank Lot back inside the house, and slam the door shut. Then they strike the entire mob with blindness. Instant, total blindness. The men are groping at the door, confused, disoriented, can't find the handle. The power of God is on full display. Then the angels turn to Lot, and they're basically like, okay, game over. Who else do you have here? Sons-in-law, sons, daughters, anyone who belongs to you? Get them out of this place because we are about to destroy it. The outcry against it has grown too great, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it. So Lot, finally understanding the gravity of the situation, runs out to find the men who were pledged to marry his daughters, and he's like, quick, we have to go. God is about to destroy the city. And girl, they laughed in his face. They thought he was joking. His own future sons-in-law thought his warning was a punchline. That's how much of a spiritual joke Lot had become living in Sodom. His testimony was worthless. When morning comes, the angels are like, Lot, it's now or never. Get your wife and your 2 daughters and get out. But Lot hesitated. The Bible says he lingered. After all that, after the mob, after the blindness, after the warning, he was still dragging his feet. He was still attached to his life in that wicked place. The angels literally had to grab him, his wife, and his 2 daughters by the hands and physically drag them out of the city because of the Lord's mercy. Once they were outside, one of the angels says, "Run for your lives. Do not look behind you and do not stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the hills, lest you be swept away." And Lot, being Lot, has one more complaint. "Oh no, my lords, please. I can't run to the hills. Disaster might overtake me and I'd die. See that little city over there? It's a little one. Let me escape there. It's just a little one, isn't it? So that my life may be saved." Sis, the audacity. The city is called Zoar, which means little. He's bargaining with angels sent to rain down judgment. The level of entitlement. But again, because God is merciful, the angel agrees. "Fine, I won't overthrow that city. Hurry, escape to it." So they run. The sun has risen by the time they get to Zoar, and then it happens. The Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Girl, imagine the sound. The sky itself tearing open. Not fire from a volcano, fire from heaven. The smell of sulfur thick and choking. The screams from the cities suddenly cut short. Everything they owned, every memory, every person they knew, obliterated in a cataclysm of divine judgment. And Lot's wife, poor, nameless Lot's wife, she's running behind them. And her heart isn't in Zoar. It's back in Sodom. Her friends were there, her home was there, her social life, her stuff, her comfort. She couldn't help herself. She disobeyed the one simple, direct command: do not look back. She turned. She looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Just frozen. A monument to a heart that was left behind. A permanent warning about the cost of longing for a life that God is delivering you from. Wait, quick pause. If you're nodding like, yes, girl, she really looked back, drop a comment before you forget. What would you have done? Okay, back to the drama. So Lot and his 2 daughters make it to Zoar, but he's terrified to stay there. He probably thought, what is there sinful to? And God comes back. So he takes his daughters and they go live in a cave in the hills, the very place he was too good for originally. From the lush plains of Sodom to a dank, dark cave. This is what compromise gets you. And this, babies, is where the story takes its final, jaw-dropping, utterly bizarre turn. We think the drama is over. The city is destroyed. They're safe. But no. These 2 daughters have been through it. Their fiancés are dead. Their mother is a salt lick. Their father is a shell of a man who offered them to a mob. They're living in a cave, isolated from the world, and they have a conversation. The older daughter says to the younger, "Our father is old, and there is not a man on earth to come into us after the manner of all the earth. Come, let us make our father drink wine, and we will lie with him, that we may preserve offspring from our father." Sis, can you believe this? They get their father drunk. Not just a little tipsy. Flat out, blackout drunk. And the older daughter goes in and lies with him, and he is so utterly gone, he doesn't even know it. The next night, they do it again. They get him drunk again, and the younger daughter goes in and lies with him. And from these horrific, twisted, dysfunctional unions, both girls get pregnant. The older daughter has a son named Moab, who becomes the father of the Moabites. The younger has a son named Ben-Ami, who becomes the father of the Ammonites. Two nations born from incest and deception, who would go on to become bitter, perpetual enemies of the nation of Israel for centuries to come. The ripple effect of one man's bad decisions literally created generational warfare. Big life lessons. Okay. Whew. I need a minute. I need a cup of tea after spilling all that tea. That was a lot. But Bible stories aren't just ancient gossip. They're here to teach us something. So let's break down the life gems from this hot mess express. Your just a little bit compromise is a slippery slope. Lot didn't wake up one day and decide to offer his daughters to a mob. It started with a glance. Ooh, that Jordan Valley looks nice. Then he pitched his tent toward Sodom. Then he moved in. Then he sat at the gate. Sin never asks for your whole life on day one. It just asks for a glance, a little compromise, a small choice that seems harmless. Sis, if you have to pitch your tent toward the thing you know is wrong, you're already going in the wrong direction. That little compromise, it's never little. You cannot be a leader in a culture that contradicts your God. Lot sat in the gate. He had influence, he had power, but he had zero impact. His own sons-in-law didn't take him seriously. When the time came to take a stand, he had no moral authority left. He was so assimilated that his own sense of right and wrong was warped. You can't be the light if you're constantly dimming your switch to fit in with the darkness. You'll end up powerless and laughable when it matters most. Delayed obedience is disobedience. A hesitant heart is a lost heart. When the angel said go, Lot lingered. He hesitated, and it almost cost him everything. God's mercy had to literally drag him out. How many times has God told us to leave a situation, a relationship, a habit, and we've lingered, we've hesitated because we're comfortable, because we're scared, because we're attached. Sis, if you have to pitch your tent toward the thing you know is wrong, you're already going in the wrong direction. That little compromise, it's never little. Your bad choices have generational consequences. This is the big one. Lot's choices didn't just affect him. They affected his wife, who died. They affected his daughters, who were traumatized and warped, leading them to commit an awful act. And that act led to the birth of two nations that would cause Israel nothing but pain and conflict for generations. Your sin is never, ever, ever just about you. It creates ripples, sometimes waves that hit the people you love and the generations that come after you. Your healing and your obedience aren't just for you. They're a down payment on peace for your future family. Outro and final CTA. Girl, this tea was too hot, right? From bad real estate choices to cave incest, this story is a roller coaster from start to finish. If you loved getting the gist with me, tap that like button right now. It truly helps this channel more than you know. Tell me in the comments, what part left your jaw on the floor? Was it Lot's offer at the door? Lot's wife turning into a snack? The final twist in the cave? I need to know. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe to Bible Girlies and turn on that bell notification, because next Bible tea, it's even crazier. We're getting into the good stuff. Until then, stay blessed, stay discerning, and for heaven's sakes, stop looking back at your Sodom. Love ya. Bye.